But I have two questions for you that have been with me for a while to address to you. One, if it's, it is if you could speak to the beauty of all experiences and to the beauty of all that arise as a play of consciousness.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel that listening to you, but that's probably it's just my misunderstanding, that experience get a bit of bad rep, which is not. I know it's the identification with it that gets bad.
Yes. Um, the, the the experience gets a bad rap in the spiritual traditions because uh, in the early stages of our investigation, we have to distinguish the knower from the known. And as a result, there is not a rejection of experience, but there is an inevitable turning away from it. I'm not my thoughts, I am that which is aware of them. I'm not my feelings, I'm that which experiences them. This doesn't imply a rejection of thoughts and feelings, but it does imply a temporary turning away from them for the purpose of recognizing the knower, the subject, who we really are. So, for this reason, as we said earlier, that thought, objective experience, thoughts, feelings, and indeed the experience of the body in the world is sometimes rejected rather than just turned away from. It is not necessary to reject it. It is necessary to turn away temporarily from it. So the experience of beauty takes place when we turn back again towards the content of experience, having temporarily turned away from it. We turn back again towards the content of experience, but the apparent separation between ourself, the knower, and the world, the known, collapses. We still perceive the world, but we are no longer fooled by the apparent evidence of duality, of separation. And the experience of beauty is the collapse of the subject-object relationship in the midst of experience. With your eyes wide open, walking in the landscape, you're seeing the landscape. You're not closing your eyes and practicing self-inquiry. You are turning towards the landscape, but in that experience there is a collapse of the subject-object relationship. You feel one with the landscape. That is the experience of beauty.
And that can happen with all kind of experiences.
It can happen with anything, a feeling, a thought, a sensation, a perception, anything. The mind then wrongly attributes the beauty to the object. It's not the object that is beautiful. The object may have precipitated the collapse of the subject-object relationship, but it's not the object, and hence the revelation of the experience of beauty. But it's not the object itself that is beautiful. Beauty is the nature of reality. Certain object, sorry?
That shines through.
Exactly, yes.
The other question, which is more of a question, because this is what about the love of the infinite for the finite? Because I know of the longing of
All right.
I know of the longing of the
finite for the yes.
What about the
All right.
other way around? Because you were sometimes when you go very much into the I am, you said it, it doesn't know about anything.
Yes. All right. Okay. We know about the finite mind's longing for the infinite, longing for the infinite. But what about your question? What about the infinite's love of the finite? And how do we reconcile the two statements? One, God loves us, the infinite loves the finite, and two, the statement that I make sometimes from the top of the mountain, the infinite does not know the finite. There's no room in the finite for the infinite. Are both these statements true? Yes, I would say they were. How can we reconcile the apparent contradiction in this way? Let's take the relationship between a mother and her child. The mother represents the infinite, the young child represents the finite. Now, The child does not know that she is one with her mother. So she loves her mother as her mother. And her love is in subject-object relationship. I love mummy. That's the child's point of view. That's the point of view of the finite. That's the finite loving God. It's the highest state of the individual. Now, what's it like from the mother's point of view? The mother knows that the child is not separate from her. She knows that the child is herself. So the mother's love for the child does not take place in subject-object relationship. The child's love for the mother takes place in subject-object relationship because the child thinks she is separate from her mother and therefore she loves her mother. But for her mother, she and the child are one. So from the mother's point of view, her love for her child is their oneness, which can legitimately be expressed as the mother loves her daughter. But that love is not in subject-object relationship. It is an expression of the unity of their being. Whereas for the daughter, the love takes place in subject-object relationship. It's exactly the same. For the finite loves the infinite in subject-object relationship. I love God. But for God, what is called God's love for us is really God's utter unity with the being that we are. So it is true to say both that God loves us, God loves the finite, and that God doesn't know the finite as the finite. Does that make sense to you?
It does. Yeah. But then when the tradition or the things I've studied, there is this part where God at some point overflows with love and creates all of these and kind of, in a play or a sport. This is again, it's still part of it. I mean, the multiplicity and the experience and the creation and
Yes. William Blake said, eternity is in love with the productions of time. The infinite is, which is another way of saying the infinite is in love with the finite. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that the infinite loves the finite in subject-object relationship in the same way that the finite loves the infinite. It means that the infinite is so utterly intimately one with the apparent finite appearances that it assumes, that it is said from the point of view of the finite that the infinite loves the finite. But from the infinite's point of view, it doesn't have the experience of loving the infinite in subject-object relationship. What the finite calls God's love of us, or the infinite's love of us, is the fact of its utter oneness, expressed in the dualistic terms of the finite mind.
as love, yeah, for us.
So it is both true and not true.
Okay,
It's hard to explain this.
thank you.
Thank you, Francesco. Thank you.